Yeah, this is a monthly favourites video. Recently I read The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. This book is probably one of the best books I've ever read. It's about a journey of a young shepherd called Santiago who goes to visit the pyramids. He meets a extremely well-off, I believe he's a king. Within this journey he makes many mistakes himself, which probably epitomises many of my mistakes currently, and probably many of the mistakes which I'm going to make, including this. I would say this is a massive mistake, but it's a learning curve. Short, The Alchemist is a book about a young boy who goes on a journey, a spiritual awakening. He meets his Fatima. He goes, visits the temple, and then when he arrives at the temple, the third mistake occurs, and told by these people and laughed at and robbed about the almost promised land under this tree, in which he goes all the way back to his home country and then finds a breadth of wealth and becomes extremely wealthy. But it's through the struggles and the tire and just very much finding himself that he then discovers everything. And then number 2 is of course this. So it's a Phillips one blade. I thought I needed to switch a few things up. I've used this, just as you can tell on my head. Yes. Probably one of the best decisions I've made so far along this journey of self-development, self-improvement. You can use it both for just face, either side, and of course I used it on my head. But yeah, probably one of the stranger items, but it's definitely a very much needed item, and yeah, it'd be very durable, very usable. And I think for the price point it's quite a low price point at around £18. It's probably going to provide me with one of the most valuable blades. There we go. So yeah, that's number 2, a Phillips one blade. And then lastly, a diary view of a week. I would say a diary and a journal is probably one of the most valuable things any man or even woman, but as a male I personally say it's one of the most underrated items that you can pick up at such a low price point. I believe this was just a couple of pounds. I just tend to note down in short about my day, both positives and negatives. At the end of the day, very nice to reflect back on in the next couple of years. Like for instance, on the 3rd of March, which was my father's 51st birthday, I went out for a meal for dinner, which was probably, I should have written that last. But yeah, well, if we went from Thursday the day before, I went out, got back late hours Thursday evening from a night out, which was quite eventful to be fair. Woke up at 10, packed my bags, met up with my mum and her friend, went off to Loaf for lunch, which was really nice. It's a restaurant nearby. I had a full English breakfast, and then I got a flat white from Fika and a pasta donata. We drove home. I quietened the mind and attempted to remove some simulation. I saw my doggo, which I was extremely grateful for, and then of course I'm running the Leeds Marathon in May, so I had to do some marathon prep and run 13 kilometres. Then on the Friday, it was my dad's 53rd birthday. I went to Tryland at 7 AM in the morning, which he owns his own fitness company, and it's his outdoor fitness men's session on a 7 AM Friday session. My 7 AM Monday is my rugby league training, which I also take a lot of pleasure, and just getting on that bike at 6:30 AM, I find a lot of solitude and value out of that, especially on the cold days. Yeah, and then went out and had a coffee with him. It's just little things like that which I really appreciate and really love, and I'd say many people would do as well, rather than flashy big gestures. It's just being present and being in the moment with him, which I very much enjoy. I watched some NRL in the morning, which, yeah, the competition is incredible out in Australia at the moment. But yeah, if you're not a rugby league fan or a rugby fan, then in general, I'd definitely say you need to watch some of the NRL highlights. Just the athleticism alone is so incredible. It's like a boxing dogfight. I went out for a dog walk, just had a reasonably chilled day. I read a lot. I did a bit of university work as well. And during the day, my sister was at school. Then we went out for a meal at a small Turkish restaurant, which has just opened up in the town, which was very nice, to be fair. And then, just had a reasonably chilled evening. Watched some more rugby. I believe that was a Premiership game. Can't exactly remember who because I didn't write it down. But it's just the small things like that which I can reflect on, which I find a lot of value out of writing down what I do for the week, so I can just look back and smile. Because I know that like my happiness and mood will always be up and down. I can just look back and see how far I've come as well, and just learn from these past experiences. So yeah, I'd say those 3 items: Alchemist, the Philips One Blade, and of course the diary for the week and day, probably the most valuable thing. And of course, just get a good pen, but I would say investing into a good pen is also up there as well.